What up, though? Welcome to World Heavyweights Live on WorldSports.com. I'm Easy, Spin More Racks, Young Chris, JB Smooth. Eventually, we will be joined by former All-Pro Glover Quin. Once led the league in interceptions, and wasn't a tied shit record either. It was he led by himself. GQ was the man.
GQ was the man.
Can't wait to speak up to him about the Detroit Lions playoff game. Oh, Hannibal was a fucking beast.
He used to lay a stick on people.
That was a team, man.
That was a team.
That was a team. Who do you think that 2014 team versus
this team now?
Yeah.
This team, I think, wins because of the coaching advantage.
Yeah. We got nothing on the mix, Chris?
Yeah. Actually, we just joined, so give me a second to 3-cam it, and then
okay.
And we'll bring them on.
That's tough, man. Because that 2014 team obviously had the better defense. That was a stacked
by
defense.
far.
Talk about GQ. You talk about Big Play Slate. You talk about Levy, Sue, Fairley. Like those guys.
Incredible.
You had some monsters out there, man. So they got and they had the better quarterback. I'd say more talented.
Let's ask the man himself.
And
Glover
Kelvin
Quin.
Johnson.
Who, real quick, because we were kind of stalling by some time here. Who wins that matchup? You think your guys' best team while you were here in Detroit, or Dan Campbell's Detroit Lions?
I mean, I don't even know if I should even say this at this moment, because this is a great week to be a Detroit Lion. You know, my mouth. I had to go to the dentist this morning. That's a tough one. Obviously, I'm gonna say 2014, but that's no disrespect to these guys. I think, listening to what you guys were saying, I think defensively, I think we can match up with them offensively. I think we had one of the top defenses in the league. We could stop the run with our front line: Sue, Fairley, Ziggy, Jason Jones, CJ Mosley coming in. Like, we could stop the run. We had Tully in the middle, Levy in the middle. It was difficult to run on us. And then in the secondary, between me and Slay, we had Rasheem Mathis on the other side. We had James Ahedebo. I mean, we had, we were pretty good defense. And I think offensively with Stafford, Calvin, we had Reggie, we had Jork, we had,
Tate,
I think we had guys. I mean, obviously they don't have anybody that could have matched up with Calvin, but nobody did, right? So that's not a slight to these guys, but I think the receiver, matchup would have been favorable. Stafford is Stafford. O-line, this O-line is better than the O-line that we had. But I think Rayola and Rob Sims, they were super solid. I can't even remember who our tackles were.
It kind of changed.
I came after Goster.
Okay.
I can't
Riley
even remember.
Reef.
Yeah.
We had Riley Reef. Yeah, we had Riley. We had
I felt like it was rotating there for a minute. Joseph Dahl.
Joe Dahl, yeah.
Joe Dahl was on the inside.
Okay.
Those guys were young, though. They were young. I don't think they were. But like I said, I think defensively we could have slowed their offense down enough. And offensively, I think we probably could have scored on their defense. So that's the only reason why I would say the 2014 team, just because we were really good defensively and we were good enough offensively that we could have scored. I mean, obviously we had Hall of Famers, Calvin, we had some guys. So that's the only reason why I say that. But this team is really good. They're really good. Their offensive coordinator is probably better than our offensive coordinator was. And Jim Bob Cooter, Ben Johnson is better. So it'd be a good game. But I mean, if I'm on the field, I feel like I'm gonna make a play at some point, and we're gonna try to win the game.
I honestly, I don't disagree. Larry Adrian Waddle was the name we were thinking about.
Waddle, yeah.
Was that it?
Waddle, yeah, I remember Waddle. I don't know if he was a starter though.
I love Sam Laporta, but I
Probably
think
so.
you and Levy would have been giving him hell in the middle of the
Levy,
field in
man.
coverage, bro.
Yeah, Levy would have been tough on Laporta, you know, and you know he'd have had James Ahedibo, and
Because that
Levy
playmakers everywhere, man.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we were a top 3, top 4 defense.
No one was running on you guys. I think AP had the only big run on you the whole season.
One of the best rush defenses of all time.
But, and I mean, like we could stop the run without even having to blitz.
Yeah.
So when you can do that, now you can keep your DBs in coverage. So
And
the
you were
play
eating.
action passes, the things like that, and then those guys were still getting pressure on the quarterback. So to be able to not blitz, still get pressure, and have your DBs in position to make plays on the ball, it's like it's tough, man. It's tough, you know. But like I said, these guys, you know, this year they're good. They're playing really good right now, going into the playoffs. So I don't want to take away from those guys, man, and what they got going on and what this weekend means for the city of Detroit. We had our time and we didn't capitalize, so we should be trying to support these guys and help them get over the hump.
For sure. And speaking of these guys and what they're walking into, you know, obviously we got Stafford coming back to Ford Field, but you look at the receivers that the Rams got with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, who's breaking all kinds of rookie records. How would the secondary get prepared to go against two guys like that in this matchup? You know, they're going to get theirs, but how can you contain them in a matchup?
Well, I mean, that's the thing, you know, when it's two guys, that's all it really takes, you know. Two guys, but I mean, they run the ball as well, and you know they got a tight end he's decent as well. So, I mean, I think the thing is we can't give up the big plays. You know, we got to make Cooper Kupp really work for what he's gonna have to get, and I think Brian Branch would do that. But we can't give up the big plays, and we can't let Puka get big plays. You know, the big plays that happened in his last game against Minnesota was very concerning to me. You know, not just because they were big plays, but it was just how do we leave Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver, one-on-one to just run past one of our corners? And if you know that you are one-on-one, how do you just let Justin Jefferson run past you?
Yeah.
Right? If I know I'm one-on-one with the best guy, I'm not going to let him run past me, especially in that area of the field, because that's the strike zone area, right? They were probably about the 40, something like that, right? A lot of teams are taking shots in that area because guys still have enough room to run past guys. The closer you get to the red zone, to the touchdown, they don't have room to run past guys, so then it turns into jump balls and stuff like that. But 40 yards out, 45 yards, they can run past you for a touchdown, and we saw that twice.
Yeah.
So that's what's concerning, because we know we can call it what we want to call it. And I'm impartial, but we know Stafford gonna sling it. Now, hopefully, he has one of those games that, you know, he slings it to us a couple times, but we know he can throw it. So Puka has had a record-breaking season. Cooper Kupp has dealt with some injuries and this and that. We know what he can be, though. We got to make Cooper Kupp be a possession guy and not give up anything big to him and try to contain Puka.
Yeah, I got to ask, too, because you obviously played with Matthew as a teammate. Did you play against him with the Texans?
Yeah.
As a competitor, too, I guess, should Lions fans be a little more nervous about Stafford coming home?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just gonna call it what it is. Like, guys, I see these numbers, and I'm sure everybody else see it as well. But the two top receiving seasons in the history of the game, Calvin Johnson and Cooper Kupp, Stafford was the quarterback. The top rookie receiving in the history, Stafford was the quarterback. Like, this guy can sling it, man. we've seen it firsthand as Lions fans.
Yeah.
We've appreciated it. He didn't lose it. Everything you loved him for when he was here, he still can do it. Everything you hated him for when he was here, he still can do it. So if you felt like, oh, Stafford don't run as much, oh, he always going to throw an interception, he still can do those things. He still don't run as much, and he still can throw you an interception, a pick six. But the things that you loved him for, bro, Stafford threw for 500 yards. He still can do those things. Bro, this guy can make any throw on the field. He still can do those things. So I definitely think, and you know, Stafford got that personality to where, like, he's not going to say anything. He's not going to say anything. You know, he's not going to be talking like he's ready to come back and cut the Lions' throat, right? He's not going to say that. You know, he's a very well-spoken guy. But he's going to be excited in his heart of hearts. I'm not going to lie. Stafford probably wants to come back and throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns and win the game. Just being honest. He's not going to say that, but that's probably what's on his mind. And I was seeing stuff about fans talking about, well, he's not our quarterback anymore. We're going to boo him. And I said on my podcast yesterday, hey, man, it's thousands of people in the stands. Do what y'all feel. But if we didn't boo Nick Mullen when he showed up as the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, we didn't boo Jordan Love when he showed up as the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. We didn't boo Geno Smith when he showed up as the quarterback. Why are we booing Matthew Stafford? Why are we booing him? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. When I saw that, I don't think anyone's actually going to boo him. I think it should be like more like just I took it as like people still want to turn up on third down or like, you know, show no mercy in those situations.
That's normal. That's football. That's what I would expect.
Yeah.
What I was saying was the booing, meaning like
that makes sense.
When Stafford comes out, it's a boo. Like,
yeah, I agree with you. That don't make sense.
I don't feel like that's necessary. Now, if that's the tradition in Ford Field, hey, we booing every quarterback. We don't freaking care who it is. Then stand on business. That's what we do. But if you haven't done that all season, why? Like, if Stafford left, forced his hand out, didn't want to be there, talked bad about the organization, cool, might want to boo him. But I don't know if that was the case. Maybe they know stuff that I don't know. I don't keep up and look at all that stuff. But I mean, he got an AT&T commercial out where he's basically talking about how
he got new teeth too. We got new teeth too.
Right.
Some new teeth.
I mean, he got love for Detroit. I mean, I think everybody knows that. So, I mean, he's in a weird situation. You know what I'm saying? I talked to him, you know, yesterday. He's got a little mixed feelings about it, but it's football. He going out there to win and to play well for the Rams, and it's our job to go out there and win and play well for Detroit. And I think, you know, in my opinion, as a fan and as a friend and as a former Lion, I think we can get all of those things. I think Stafford can come in and have a good day. I think Jared Goff can have another good day. I think the Lions team is better than the Rams team. And that's what wins in the end. That doesn't mean Stafford can't have a 300-yard day and 3 touchdowns. Jared Goff can do the same thing. But we can also get 100 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns from our running back. We can also, like, you can win the game and other players can still have good games. Now, it makes it easier to win if Stafford's having a bad game, right? But me, I like to see good football. I like for the stars to play well in big games and just let the best team win. Who makes the biggest play in the biggest moment? That's what I like to see. I don't like to see the blowouts where, you know, one team just didn't really show up and you got beat. Like last night, the championship game. You know, like I wanted Washington to put up points. I wanted it to be a a 34-31 game, and it's coming down to the last minute and see who wins it. Like, and both teams can walk off the field saying, hey, man, that was a really good game. They just made one more play than what we did. Those are the type of games that I like. Now, every fan's not going to like that. They probably want to see a blowout, don't even make it close. Like, let's win and move on to the next one. We can still win and move on to the next one and have a good, entertaining football game.
GQ, I got to ask as a competitor, because I think it's being built up as a Matthew Stafford coming home game, which is true. But I feel like what's forgotten is the Jared Goff aspect of it and how it's like a revenge game for him. It's pressure for him getting the first Detroit Lions playoff win for however long it's been. Does that affect you as a competitor in between the lines? Like once you're out there in the field, like does that stuff creep back into there, or is it just you're on go mode?
Right. You just going to play the game. Like I say, none of that stuff comes up till the game is over with. That's really what it is. None of that stuff, like, you're not going to see anything from Stafford. You're not going to see anything from Jared Goff. If Stafford's going to play hard, he's going to play hard. If Jared Goff is going to play hard, he's going to play hard. You're not going to hear anything or see anything until the fourth quarter and the game is over and Jared Goff is freaking, and all his teammates are celebrating because he beat the Rams and they know how much it meant to him. And it's be the same thing if it went the other way. Nobody's going to say anything. But if the Rams find a way to win and Stafford has a big day, his teammates, they know how much it means to Stafford. We all know the storylines, guys. We all know that stuff. Like I say, Jared Goff has had an opportunity to go back to L.A. and play against the Rams. Stafford, this is his first time coming back. Stafford, what he meant to the Lions is probably bigger than what Jared Goff was to the Rams. He put more time in with the Lions, right? So it's deeper for Stafford than it is for Jared Goff. Not saying that Jared Goff don't want to stick it to the Rams, but Stafford did 12 years there. Jared Goff only did, what, 5?
Super Bowl.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he got to the Super Bowl. It does mean more.
He got to the Super Bowl. He took him to the Super Bowl. But did he take him to the Super Bowl, or was he he just helped him,
Todd Gurley helped a lot
Stafford, Stafford got there and won it. So for me, for Jared Goff, it would be more about outplaying Stafford than beating the Rams. It didn't matter. It wouldn't matter if Stafford was now playing for anybody else. That's the link between Stafford and Jared Goff. I don't think it has anything to do with the Rams right now. It'd be really him just outplaying Matt Stafford on a big stage, to me.
And you do have, obviously, one of the best defensive players in the history of the NFL. One of the best defensive players I've ever seen in this matchup in Aaron Donald. You had a guy similar to him in your time in Detroit, and Ndamukong Suh. How much can a player like that in the middle of that defensive line just wreck the opposing offense when he gets in there?
They can kill the game. I mean, my first year in Detroit was Aaron Donald's first year in St. Louis.
Yeah.
He killed the game. He literally beat us almost by himself. He probably had 3 or 4 sacks, not including just TFLs. Aaron Donald controlled the whole game. When you can control the game in the middle of the field, it makes it tough because you're right there next to the quarterback. You're right there next to the handoff. You're right there in the middle. You can get pressure in the run game. You can get pressure in the pass game. When you can do that, it's tough. So if they can't block Aaron Donald, that's a problem. That's a major problem. And like I say, I think players have these like feelings about things until you stop it. And the fact that Aaron Donald had that type of game against the Lions his rookie year, in his mind, he dominates the Lions in his mind. And what I mean is, every time we played Chicago, for the most part early in my career, I caught an interception or something. So every time we played Chicago, I went into the game like, oh, I know I'm finna get me one today. We dominate the Bears every time. There's teams that you play good against all the time. There's teams that you just don't play good against. That's why I was glad we didn't have that. Seattle didn't even make it in, because we just don't play good against those guys.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
But that's how players are. So and I don't know Aaron Donald personally. I'm just going based off of how I feel, how a lot of players are, and just the whole situation. For him to have that type of game his rookie year, he probably feels like he owns the Lions. So he's probably like, I know I can dominate these guys. And I haven't heard, and I haven't watched a lot of the Rams this year, other than just like little highlights and little bits of pieces here and there. But I haven't heard Aaron Donald mention as much. I don't know if he's been injured a little bit, off and on, dealt with some different things. I don't know. I know he was, slow year he was leaning towards retiring last year, and then he came back. So generally, when you're leaning towards retirement, you come back, it's generally a slower year for you, because mentally but he's Aaron Donald. He can turn it up and dominate a game in the playoffs, because in his mind, he can say, hey, man, I got 3 games left in my career. I got 3 games left for 4 if we make it to the Super Bowl. I can turn up and give it everything I got for 1 game and see where the pieces fall. So those 2 guys, Aaron Donald, Matthew Stafford, we definitely got to make sure that we keep those guys in check.
Man, because I know you're making an appearance at the game. I guess one real quick question, like, what's your expectations of the crowd being such a star fan base? And if you're allowed to, if you want to give a official prediction, if you're comfortable with it.
Hey, man, you know what? I'm excited, man. I'm excited for Detroit to get a home game, man. These fans deserve it. You know, they've been showing up since week 1 this year. You know, they were showing up last year. They were showing up whenever I was there playing. They deserve it, right? They deserve a home playoff game. They're going to be loud. We got the Sunday night game. It's prime time. The building is going to be spectacular. I can't wait to hear it. I'm excited for it. The thing that I hope happens is a lot of the players on this team hasn't had home playoff games. Pretty young team when it comes to playoff experience. Stafford, on the other hand, he's won a Super Bowl. So that trumps a lot of things, right? The thing that I don't want to happen, 2 things, is for them to start booing Stafford and the players get caught up in that, and then we get stupid late hit penalties, bullcrap stuff, because they're trying to get to Stafford, right? You see that all the time. That's not good. We can't give them 15 yards. We can't give them free plays. And you don't want to, like, make it that type of game, in my opinion. And the second thing is, you can't get too caught up in all of the crowd and the hoopla and everything that's going on and start making dumb penalties, false starts, jumping off sides. All these little things, because you're so amped up. It's the playoffs. The crowd is crazy. We're on the national stage, and it's the playoffs. You see those little things creep in. And young teams, if they don't handle those situations well, it could hurt you in the playoffs. So that's really what I'm looking for. How many late hits or whatever type of penalties that we have against Stafford, and how many like just boneheaded, false offsides, false start, you know, just panicking with the PIs, just little stuff like that would make you seem like, this was a big moment, and maybe it was too big. But I gave my score prediction yesterday on my podcast, and I got the Lions winning 34-28 in an epic game.
Hell yeah.
Let's go. Hey, you want to shout out the podcast before we let you get going?
Oh man, you can. Man, I'm on the Believe in Lions podcast, man. Me and my guy Jack Kavanaugh, and we just talk Lions football. You know me, I'm a shooter straight. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how I am. I see stuff. I'ma say stuff. I got nothing but love for everybody. I want all the players to win and do well. If I see something that doesn't, make sense to me, I'm gonna say that. If I don't know the ins and outs, I don't know what the ins and outs are, but I know what I saw. So if I saw it and thought that, you gotta assume that millions of other people saw it and possibly thought the same thing. That's how I am. So, but it's a pretty cool podcast, man. We have a good time. We run 2 shows a week, a pregame show and a postgame show. So, man, check us out. We on all of the podcast networks, I think, man. I don't even know where they posted at Apple, Spotify. I just get on there and talk. I let them handle all the other stuff.
Appreciate you so much, Bobby.
Thank you.
All right, man. Appreciate you guys.